loves. Welcome back to CPTV, the place for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs who want to turn their passions into businesses and their businesses into 6- and 7-figure empires. Does that sound good? Then go ahead, come on in, take a look, and subscribe, because every single Tuesday I am giving you the strategies and the step-by-step actionable training for free for you to implement immediately in your business and your life so that you can get to that level of entrepreneurial freedom that you desire. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you don't miss any of it. And of course, if you like it, show me, smash that like button and say, hey, CP, in the comments below. Guess what, y'all? I am so excited.
I'm so excited.
You may ask, why? Because this week is the week that my free 5-day boot camp about how to be the master of your time is in full swing, and the energy. Yes, that's right. As we speak, today is actually day 2 of the boot camp. And I was originally going to talk to you guys about something totally different today, but I have been so humbled and so honored and so appreciative of the overwhelming response to this boot camp, which proves that time management is a major pain point for so many people, including aspiring and growing entrepreneurs. So I thought, CP, you better share what you got going on. You better share this excitement with your peeps. So today I'm going to let you in to our private boot camp kickoff that we had on day 1, so you can find out what this boot camp is all about, in case you want in, because enrollment really closes in like the next couple of days. If you register by clicking the link below, at least by Thursday, you can still get caught up. But I think I'm shutting it down at that point because it'll be too hard for anybody to really catch up if they start any later than that. So let me frame what's going on, because it's a boot camp, y'all. I am Drill Sergeant CP, okay? At ease, private. Okay. It's a full Army boot camp, y'all. I ain't playing. It's so much fun. But aside from that, every morning in Command Central, which is our private Facebook community that you only have access to if you are in the boot camp, I show up live to dive a little deeper into the previous day's lessons. I make sure that everyone has their daily missions completed, and I answer all of the questions from my soldiers. And I will be there every day for the next 5 days. I am so pumped about the next 5 days. And in this sneak peek, I am setting the stage. I'm discussing the agenda, and then I'm really giving the soldiers an opportunity to tell me exactly what they need and want to gain over the next 5 days. Some of these things may sound very familiar to you. Anyway, let's take a glimpse into the Master Your Time 5-day boot camp.
All right. So yesterday was a really big day. I loved seeing where everybody was on their homework assignments and taking their snapshots and really spending some time getting to know thyself. I was so interested to kind of tally some of the results that I've seen, to kind of see where our group is, to see where all of us as soldiers are and what we discovered yesterday. So we have kind of tallied all of the results from yesterday. And it's really interesting every single time I work with a group on mastering their time to see where everyone really fits in. We've got several planners in our group. We've got several arrangers in our group, and we've got several visualizers. If you didn't get a chance to plug your homework in from last night, and you did kind of go through and figure out your productivity type, make sure you put that in the comments below in case I missed it. Are you a planner? Are you an arranger? Are you a visualizer? What is your productivity type? What did you discover about yourself? And do you feel like the productivity type that you discovered is a good fit and was pretty accurate? I see some tea drinkers. Sorry, I love tea as well. But coffee is definitely my morning go-to. So day one is one of the most exciting days because I love, and I don't know about you guys, but I love the idea of being able to really get to know myself, knowing what I'm strong in, knowing what I could potentially need some work in, and also really having an idea of where my strengths and weaknesses lie, because identifying those time wasters, and I saw some of your responses with regards to what you identified yesterday as some of your time wasters. Now, by all means, continue to track what your time wasters are for today, because usually a couple of days of tracking is going to be the most accurate tracking. I know for me, I identified very easily that my time wasters were oftentimes getting distracted by my phone. Whether I'm getting notifications of my emails, my text messages, things like that. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into what we discovered today. And then we're going to talk about what we discovered yesterday. And then we're going to talk about what our focus for today is and how that is going to ultimately help take what you discovered yesterday to that next level. So first, I want to talk to my planners out there. No worries, Wendy. You can go ahead and you can post it today as well if you were having some technical computer issues. You can still send your picture of your assignment. And I see additional planners and visualizers in there. Did we have any prioritizers? I didn't see any prioritizers come through so far. So did we have any prioritizers? Homeschooled kids, it is a huge distraction. I've got children that are in the process of being homeschooled as well. They're in different parts of the house. Some of them like to use headphones, some of them don't. And of course, they're complaining about the workload and about what's going on. So yes, the biggest distractions for a lot of folks right now is those interruptions, especially when it comes to their children. And you almost wonder if they were in school, right? Would they be bothering the teacher as much as they bother you? That's kind of like the question that I come up with on a regular basis. You were in school, you wouldn't just be able to jump up and get frustrated around things. But obviously there's a little bit more flexibility nowadays. So prioritizer was a close second. Okay, perfect. Can you be a mix of the several productivity types? Absolutely. You will definitely have a primary productivity type, but if you can see yourself in some of the other ones, I always identify a secondary as well as even a tertiary productivity type. But your primary is going to be the one where if you kind of address it and put the right things in place, it's going to ultimately help you continue to be able to grow and mastering your time. So the planners in the group, you guys discovered from your planning that, you know, as a planner, you are really, really, really good at, you know, kind of getting the plan together. You probably got your lists, you've got detailed plans, you've got order, you thrive in spaces of organization. And when you thrive in those spaces of organization, it can be very difficult to maintain focus when you've got distractions or things that kind of interrupt those plans. I am primarily a planner, 100%. I almost have anxiety if one of my plans gets derailed. And over the years, I've had to learn true tactics in taking deep breaths and really understanding that being fluid in life, being fluid in my day will prevent that anxiety from kicking in, but also allows me to plan a little bit more for those distractions. Planners do very, very well with understanding that distractions are going to happen and being able to put kind of a strategy and a plan in place to deal with those distractions. And we are going to address that in the coming days in the boot camp as well, especially when we get to day 4, which is focusing on that produce aspect. I really dive deep into how to really plan for some of those distractions. So as a planner, spontaneous interruptions, spontaneous situations, they make you very uncomfortable. And that's okay, because if you are function very, very well when everything is neat and in order, you are more prone to procrastination. So reprioritizing, dealing with a change that may come up if an emergency comes up or an unexpected situation comes up is going to be very difficult for planners. But your peak energy time, the identification of where you found out your peak energy time is really going to be the primary focus for you as a planner. You want to make sure that when we get into the next couple of days of boot camp and what you're going to learn around organizing yourself and gathering your tools today, and then around kind of prioritizing and being able to categorize when you should be doing things and what things are absolutely important to you, if you make sure that you're able to block those, and we're going to get into blocking as well, block those during your peak energy times. As a planner, you will still have that sense of normalcy. You'll still have that sense of consistency that you thrive in and that you ultimately need. So for all of my planners out there, and I think I identified at least 4 or 5 of us in this group, your peak energy time is going to be critical, and making sure that you're doing your most critical tasks during those peak energy times. You've got great scheduling and you've got great organization as a planner. So those are some amazing strengths, because oftentimes just disorganization can kind of create that feeling of chaos for planners. But you're really good at doing that. You just also don't pivot and redirect as quickly as sometimes you need to in order to be successful. So the arrangers in our group, I want to talk to you guys for a little bit. But before I do, I want to make sure I take a look and look at some of our comments just to see if there's any questions in there. And by all means, if you've got questions, go ahead and throw them in. We've got visualizer. How do you make sure that you create effective chunks of time and make sure the right resources have been used? All right, so let me talk to our arrangers really quick before I get to that question, Robert. The arrangers, you really do thrive in working with groups of people. So right now, this space that we're all in quarantine and really having to master working alone and in quiet space can be very, very difficult for my arrangers. You really do thrive and get going and get motivated by others, by that energy. And so oftentimes I found that with visualizers, that with arrangers, if you are secluded and in quarantine and working from home or working alone, it's a skill and it's kind of an anxiety feeling that you've got to overcome because you're not surrounded by other people that will ultimately drive you. Managing meetings, selling your ideas, arrangers are the ones who have very bubbly personalities and ultimately get distracted very easily. So the very thing that gives you energy and that drives you as an arranger is also going to be the very thing that distracts you. Now, later on in the week, we are going to dive into a CP Pomodoro technique. And that technique is going to be absolutely critical for our arrangers. And the reason is because you will be able to still tell yourself, I'm going to give myself this time frame to really focus, but I'm going to reward myself at the end of that time frame. And we are definitely going to really work through some of that. So for my arrangers, as you discovered, I want you to make sure that when we get into the produce piece, because that's really what a lot of these productivity types are designed to do. How can I produce more effectively? When you get to those arrangers, really take heed into that tip, that CP's Pomodoro technique that I talked to you about, because that is going to be critical and imperative to your success. And it really does give you an opportunity to use those breaks that you're going to reward yourself with to interact. And as an arranger right now in this space that we're in, are you finding yourself getting really distracted by social media or by your phones? Do you feel like your major distractions are your phone? Did you find that? Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Well, there's some great techniques for my phone that I've used. I'm going to address for you guys as well throughout the rest of the boot camp. But my phone, I am a secondary arranger. And so it's a close second for me from a planner. And my phone, and I spend a lot of time on social because it is a primary marketing tool for your business as an entrepreneur. you say, am I wasting my time? I know a lot of people that say, I've got to get off of social media. Well, when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to grow a business or a brand, or even whether you're just dabbling a little bit in developing some brand, providing some content, being out there and serving some folks, you're going to find that social media can overtake your life. One of the key tips and tools that I provide to folks is don't allow social media or your phones to control you. Don't let it guide when you do it. You need to guide when you do it. So I have times set aside in my calendar and in my schedule, which we're going to be getting into in the next couple of days, of when I'm allowed to actually focus in and do that social media. But oftentimes when I've got that reward period after I've really sat down and I've focused in my 45-minute or my 1 hour chunk, I allow myself to kind of sit and go through and check in on my social media. So the arrangers, social media phone distractions can be huge. Airplane mode, do not disturb mode is critical. And I know that that can also give our arrangers a lot of anxiety, but those are two key things. Put your phone in do not disturb when you're really trying to focus in on a task, and it won't allow your phone to get all of those buzzes. Now, airplane mode does work, but if you're connected to Wi-Fi, you're still going to get some of those notifications, especially if you have the settings in your phone set to allow those things to come through on Wi-Fi. So do not disturb is going to be the key to your existence and the key to your success. For our visualizers, how many piles of paper do you have? How many things are you multitasking in your mind? Our visualizers need to juggle multiple things in order to feel productive. You have to maintain your interest in those things. You get bored very, very easily working on the same thing. And again, when we get into produce in a couple of days, those tips, especially CP's Pomodoro Technique, is going to be extremely helpful for you visualizers, because it's going to teach you how to reward yourself and focus in on those things. Now, I really have to talk about visualizers because of your spontaneity. So you're oftentimes in a very disorganized space. Today, day 2 is going to help you get organized as well, because that organization, while that's not necessarily your strong suit, it is going to help you and give you the opportunity to just sit down and kind of begin to work on one thing at a time. Because I am not sure if you recognize this, but our human brain is really, truly not capable of multitasking. I know you've gone on job interviews your entire life, and they have said to you, do you have the ability to multitask? And you've been trained to believe that you're supposed to answer that question. Yes, I can multitask all kinds of things. But the reality is our brains don't really multitask very well. You might start something, not finish it, move on to something else, realize you didn't get it done, the deadline comes, it goes, and then you begin to continue to procrastinate your way through that entire process. So for my visualizers, batching. When we get into the next today and day 2 and day 3, batching of your schedule, planning it out, looking at it is really going to help you go in and focus in on those tasks. A perfect example, and I'm going to share my calendar with you guys as well in the next couple of days. I buy a new notebook a week. I see that. Yes. Yes. Different notebooks for different tasks, right? Different notebooks for different tasks. Absolutely. So when you get into the blocking and the batching of your schedule, the really hard part for the visualizer is just to make sure that you can maintain your focus, but you also give yourself enough things, different things to do throughout the day in order to stay involved and to stay focused and also to stay interested in what that time frame is. So that is absolutely perfect. So what did we discover about ourselves with some of those time wasters? Maybe some tips and tools that I can give you. I know from yesterday's homework assignment, we talked about some of the children interruptions that are taking place. Let me take a look and pull up the specifics from some of our homework yesterday that everyone was posting. And I want to make sure we've got some procrastinating all the time, easily pushing tasks off. The phone easily distracts you. Now you're starting to implement some of the things. that you've been learning and watching. Awesome. But those peak times, so the 11 to 1 p.m. Yes, procrastination. You're also a planner and an arranger, so procrastination can definitely kick in. We also found that we've got some other time wasters. We're still gathering. That's okay. Keeping track today. The racing thoughts and ideas in your mind. Yes, that is huge for visualizers. The ideas keep coming. The ideas keep flowing. One of the things that I can give you from a visualizer's perspective that is going to be great and you're going to learn about today as well is your list, the magical list of things to do, I call it. And in today's lesson, I dive really deep into this magical list of things to do and how to organize. And a lot of folks in here were saying that, there's a difference. They seem to be doing things from a work and from a business perspective that's different than what they're experiencing on a personal level. I am here to tell you that you must combine the two worlds. The only way you're going to survive is to combine the two worlds. So on my list, I've got everything personal, everything professional, and every single idea that's racing around in my head. I have found that when I actually write down the idea, even if it's something simple like I'm thinking about right now, I'm thinking about my startup academy that's going to be launching and opening up here shortly. And there's some things I want to add and a few bonuses that I want to work on. And these ideas come to me all the time. I write down in my list, ideas for Startup Academy, and I just start jotting them down, getting them out of my head so that they stop coming. Because one of the biggest reasons why they're still coming is because your brain is telling you, I don't want you to forget this. I don't want you to forget this. I don't want you to forget this. And so if you write it down on that one place, that one magical list, it can still become a task. But once you dive into prioritization in day 3, I will tell you exactly what to do with those things that are just ideas. Those are the types of tasks that don't have immediate deadlines, imminent deadlines, but you still want to make sure you don't forget in order to get them out of your brain so that you can take a deep breath and gain a little bit more focus. So make sure those ideas that you have as the visualizer and even as an arranger, that you are jotting them down on that magical list of things to do, which you're going to learn about in today's lesson as well. And don't separate work from personal. They correspond with one another. They are tied to one another. They're critical for you to keep everything, because that is the one place that you can organize your thoughts. You can begin to prioritize using the 4D method that you guys are going to learn in a couple of days. And you'll also be able to delegate some of those things and figure out which ones you need to defer. So those 4Ds that I'm going to dive deep into in day 2, after we get you organized and get your tools together today, you're going to really benefit from that if some of your distractions and your time wasters that you found is that you're just keeping things separate and prioritizing it. Yes, I saw the question with regards to making better use of your digital Gmail calendar. And it's very hard for you because you've got 5 children, Michelle. I've got 6. So I totally understand, and they all have varying schedules. I have a workstation at home that used to have a big calendar on it as well. And what I found was my Gmail calendar can hold everything, personal and professional. And my children all utilize a Gmail calendar. So I can see all of their calendars, and they can also see their schedule. I start teaching my children at the age of 10, if they've got lots of ideas, lots of activities, lots of different schedules going on, how to understand they're going to get an invite to a calendar. I put it in their calendar, and they keep track of their schedule. So that is also going to be something that you're going to learn over the next couple of days as well, how I utilize that. Yes, keep one master to-do list, 100%. And that Gmail calendar, while it may look crazy, my daughter is very, very good. My administrative assistant actually plugs everything into my schedule, or I will, but her entire cheer schedule, dance schedule, my son's basketball schedule, football schedule, all of the appointments get added into Gmail. They get invited, and I can look at my calendar. I have my personal things colored in a different color. So they're in green. I've got work in orange. I've got my personal care time in a different color, so I can see it at a glance. But ultimately, it keeps things all in one place, so I know where I have that chunk of time that I really need to get things done. And I make sure that my peak energy times are reserved for my critical tasks. And we're going to get into those as well. What other time wasters did we find? We've got, let's see, questions. Let me do a quick check. Perfectionism. Perfectionism. All right. I am Cheryl, and I am a recovering perfectionist. Recovering perfectionist. Perfectionism will create imposter syndrome. It will create doubt. It will create procrastination. It will create paralysis. And most of us, I believe, try to be as perfect as possible. The one thing I have to say to perfectionists is it is going to be 20,000 times more effective, more efficient, and better for you if you move forward with imperfect action. Because even if you learn something, even if a mistake is made, even if it doesn't go exactly in your mind how you thought it was going to go, from that experience, you will learn something to be able to implement to make it even better next time. It's a marathon, right? Not a sprint. So being able to identify, it's like watching film when you're in football, right? It's like watching that film. You're going to be able to glean from those experiences. But if you never move forward because you ultimately want to be able to predict the future and have that anticipatory anxiety, you will become paralyzed. So perfectionism 100% is a major procrastination enhancer, I should say. And moving forward with imperfect action, definitely have a game plan, definitely have an idea, but you've got to move forward. You've got to try it. And having a support system is definitely critical for that, which is why I love a good boot camp. Let me take a look at some more of the questions. Phone calls. Phone calls are a time distractor, not keeping track of your time. Yes, Sam, absolutely. Writing down what you're doing throughout the day gives you more focus. You get a lot more things done. Absolutely. Okay. So you block time to read the newspaper and professional articles. It's a time suck, but I don't consider it a time waster. Absolutely. I think that we all need to allow our brains to learn. And when you're reading and you are diving into an active learning environment, it is something that can stimulate you. So be careful what those, the energy that those articles are creating for you, right? So for instance, it doesn't have to be a time waster, especially if you're not necessarily doing it during your peak performance time. If you know your peak performance time is first thing in the morning, reserve that time to get really critical tasks done when your brain is fresh. And save your less peak energy times for those more relaxing tasks, like reading the newspaper or reading articles later on in the day. I love learning. So there are a ton of blog articles that I save for myself and that I receive via email, things like that. So what I've done, and actually I teach it in my Startup Academy, is that everyone needs an additional email address, that when you're registering for things or when you're reviewing things, all of those informational, educational emails will go into that email box, so that it's not clouding and clogging up your regular inbox. But those are also things, that inbox, your brain knows that's my non-peak energy time, relaxing, want to learn, want to get into something new box. So I'm just sitting around, putzing around on the couch. I might have my HGTV in the background. And that is the email box that I dive into. I don't need a lot of bandwidth. I've accomplished my most critical tasks. I'm on target for my deadlines. So I reward myself with additional education. I am definitely an education every single day person. I love to absorb information. I also believe that it is very helpful as we continue to get older to ward off things like dementia and Alzheimer's. But I do not use my peak energy times for leisurely reading and learning. Because when I do have a critical task and I've used my peak energy time, it's very difficult for me to stay focused when I'm working on those critical tasks. So absolutely, it's not a time waster. It's about when you choose to do those activities that's going to be critical for your success. So knowing your peak energy time and knowing between the hours, like for me, the evenings, I'm usually a 10 to 1 peak energy time person. Then I kind of hit an energy lull between 1 and 3. And then like from 4:30, 5 o'clock until like 9 o'clock at night, I get like a second wind. And so you'll find that for me, my critical tasks, writing content, writing scripts, putting together trainings, those are always reserved for that time. That is when I am most creative. And that is also when my do not disturb goes on. So I don't plan my social media checking or scrolling during those times. Those are during my less peak energy times. So like I said, the administrative things that you need to do, go ahead and plug them in your calendar. And we're going to get into that in the next couple of days. So, as reserved time for you, but just make sure that that reserved time is not during that peak energy time. Just make sure that it's not during that peak energy time. Christy, you got the same peak energy time, huh? Yeah, I call it being a night owl. You get stuck from perfectionism. Absolutely. Take a small little step forward, even if it's not perfect. Moving forward will get you so much further than standing still. How do you separate a good idea from a bad or half-baked one if you're moving forward with imperfect action? That's a really good question. I don't really identify any ideas as bad ones. I will put them down as ideas and I put them on my list. And depending upon what the idea is about determines how much I defer it. So whether or not I can defer that idea, because one of the things that I'm deferring it is I'm going to block off of my schedule maybe a week from now or after I get out of a major project to do a little bit of research on that idea. And that research will dictate to you whether or not you should move forward, right? So I think that research and educating yourself, all ideas, no matter whether you don't have anticipatory determinations on whether it's good, bad, or half-baked. Write it down on your list. It's an idea. This is my idea. And then after we get through today and tomorrow in being able to organize and grab those tools and also to prioritize, you'll know when you should defer that. And when you defer it, in that educational piece that I just talked about, prioritize doing some research around those ideas. And that research will help dictate to you what your next step should be. Because sometimes the how, and we're going to talk about this later on throughout the boot camp as well, not knowing how to get it done will also just permeate in your mind, create stress, and ultimately procrastination. Did that answer your question? Perfect. Let me check really quick for some more questions in here. So while you guys are thinking of any additional questions that you jotted down or anything else that you want, I want to make sure that we talk about today, day 2. The post for today. Today is all about gathering your tools and getting organized. In your implementation, in your mission guide, you are going to find 2 really critical pieces. One is the magical list of things to do. And that list, I can tell you, has saved my life. There's a few of you that I've already seen in here that talks about the list. I may have given you that tip or tool once before, and it does save your life. And today you're going to learn how important it is to gather everything and keep it all in one place. You're also going to learn how important it is when you're on the fly and you don't have your list to streamline how you keep track of that information in order to be able to get it on your list. Because that one document, that one list is where you then begin to prioritize from. It's where you begin to block your schedule. It's where you begin to put down exactly what you need to get done throughout the day. And that one organizational tool is going to be extremely critical for you. The other tool is going to be the magical calendar and the technology tool. And in today's lesson, I actually walk you through how to get your calendar set up on your computer, how to make sure that you've got it going, and also how to make sure it's on your phone. So we're going to get organized today, and we're going to gather our tools. Those are going to be your primary missions for today. Tomorrow, we're going to get into prioritizing that magical list. So today, I want you to make sure you're gathering every little thing you've got. Every piece of paper, every napkin, every text message, every note in your phone, every phone call you've received, every email you've saved because it's something you've got to do, every idea or thought that you've had. Today is the day that you're going to begin to organize it. And in today's lesson, with the tools that you're going to receive, that's what I want to make sure that you use, okay? And here's another question. Let me check it from Christy. As someone starting a business, is there such a thing as doing too much research or spending too much of my time researching? Oh yes, Christy, there is absolutely a such thing as doing too much research. I call it the black hole of information. It is required, however, it is required. And blocking the time to research and giving yourself a start time and an end time is the best way to curb the information black hole. When I'm doing research, I have, and this is a tip that a lot of you may have seen already from a different training that I've done, or even from CPTV on YouTube. But when it comes to research in my business, I have time blocked off every single month that's called work on my business time. And it's time that I seclude myself and I spend that time diving into those ideas. But I also once a year do a CEO's retreat. And my CEO's retreat, I have entire days where I do nothing but educate myself and research myself. Because I know I have those set blocks of time coming in my calendar, it eliminates the need and the desire for me to constantly be in research phase. So I'm going to tell you, as you're still starting your business, because it is critical for you to learn everything there is to learn about getting started, you've got to discipline yourself to set aside certain amounts of time in order to do that. Have a start time and have an end time. And if it's something major, like a major process or a major piece of technology or a major product or service or a pricing point or paperwork surrounding your business or whatever it is, you also know that you're going to have that time reserved on a monthly basis. I have it reserved on a monthly basis. I actually dedicate about 4 hours per month to do nothing but research. And to just kind of get myself caught up in what I need to implement. But my once a year CEO retreat is my research avenue. Now, when I first started doing my CEO retreats, when I first started my business, they were usually just long weekends. I would go away, get a hotel room right down the street from my house, and lock myself in that hotel room. And when I'm locking myself in that hotel room, I have carte blanche. I can work and research around the clock. It would start on a Thursday. I'd check in Thursday at 3 o'clock, check out on Sunday at checkout, and use the entire 48 to 72 hour period to just work on my business. As my businesses have continued to grow over the years, my CEO retreat is now up to an entire week, 7 full days. And each day is dedicated to a different aspect of my business because my business has gotten bigger. So it's dedicated to human resources, or it's dedicated to operations, or it's dedicated to marketing. And that time allows me to really, number one, take a deep breath with all of those ideas that I know I want to research throughout the year that are constantly distracting me. I keep that email folder ready to go. And that's the email folder that I spend so much time in when I'm on my retreat. But in my mind, I'm able to take a deep breath around some of those scattered ideas because it's on my list already. So I know what I want to research. I know what I want to do, but it's out of my head. So it's written down. It's no longer distracting me throughout the days and the weeks. And I know that I've got time set aside in order to get it done. And that is the biggest key to that research piece. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And as you continue throughout boot camp the next few days, you're going to get more tips and tools on how to really prioritize, how to block that time, because time blocking is absolutely critical for every single productivity type. But while you're working, while you're researching, give yourself a limit. You have to limit it. And once you do that successfully, it's going to change the game for you. So hopefully that was a helpful answer for you. Yes, you should not set your research time in your peak time, because it's more informational. It's more relaxed. You don't necessarily need the same bandwidth, right? So those are for your non-peak energy times. Those are for the times when you really do just want to kind of fill your brain with information, but you don't have to use a lot of bandwidth. So your peak energy times are designed for high bandwidth needing activities. When you're reading, you're researching, you're kind of putzing around, you're clicking through, you're looking at sales pages, you're working in sales funnels, you're working on marketing messaging. Now, not writing content, maybe, not writing emails or writing video scripts or blogs. Those require high bandwidth. But when you're researching things to prepare for that kind of stuff, absolutely do not use your peak energy time for it. Get your notebook out. I oftentimes you can find me sitting on my couch with my laptop during my kind of wind down time. And that's when I'm doing my research. And I actually usually do it one evening during the week, because I also like to just relax and veg out. So Wednesday nights, they're low bandwidth nights for me. And so those are the nights that I actually have blocked off in my schedule to get caught up on any research. And I don't do it every Wednesday. It's really more like an every other Wednesday for 2 hours. Type of a deal. And that's usually reserved from like 7:30 to 9. And because I do have that dinner hour that I like to make sure that everybody is kind of eating and that we're eating together. But usually 7:30 to 9:30, I'm sitting on the couch, there's the TV playing in the background, and I'm opening up those emails and I'm checking through that research. So hopefully that was helpful for you as well. Any other questions? Do a quick check. So hopefully you guys are ready for today. Your lesson, your mission should be deployed in about 20 minutes. And remember, today is all about organizing. It's all about getting your tools together. If you can, dive into the video as soon as it is open for you, and go ahead and watch it. And then today, throughout your day, when you're at work, when you're getting through your schedule, when you're getting through stuff, just make sure that you begin to organize and get your tools set up. I cannot wait to see your results later on today. The post will also be live for you here shortly in about 20 minutes. So make sure that you, the end of the day today, take a snapshot of your homework assignment, get through it all, plug it in there. And I am so excited for you guys to get organized and get your tools today. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. Make sure you let me know how things are going. You can let me know right there in your learning portal, or you can also obviously let me know right here in Command Central. I'm excited for you guys to get organized. I'm actually, when I get off here, going to spend some time doing my daily recap and tweak, and you'll see what that is in today's lesson. And get myself together with what I've got today. But I've got a pretty full schedule today. I'm going to be blocking off some time. I've got lots of content to create and some more video scripts and things like that to work on. So I'm excited for my day as well. Remember, guys, if you need anything at all, please let us know. If you're having any technical difficulties or you need something from the team, don't forget to email help@CherylCPerez.com. Team CP will be all over it and get it to you as quickly as possible. Private, you are doing amazing. You know, I don't know if I'm being a good drill sergeant. I think I'm supposed to be a little meaner than I'm actually being, but it's just not in my nature to be a mean drill sergeant. I'm more of a nurturing drill sergeant. And I'm so excited that you guys, I love it. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for all of the time and commitment. These 5 days are going to be so worth that transformation and that change in your life. And today is really, really, really important. So I'm excited for you guys to dive in. Let me know how it goes. Private, you are dismissed. I will see you live tomorrow morning so that we can unpack your tools and what you found out about all your stuff. And one thing I want to tell you, As you are gathering your list today, as you are organizing all of your lists into one place, do not be overwhelmed by how many pages you find that you need. That in itself can promote procrastination. So I want you to make sure that you don't become overwhelmed, because on day 3, I'm going to show you how to go through that list and do the 4D method of prioritizing so that you can actually begin to produce. So move forward today with imperfect action, my loves. I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys here tomorrow morning. And you are dismissed.
Wasn't that deep, y'all? Yes, right? I get so much energy when my audience, you guys, are telling me exactly what you're feeling, exactly what you are going through, and exactly how I can help. And I am so excited to go above and beyond in delivering over the next 5 days in this boot camp. Yes, I got you. I got you. So I thought I'd give you guys a glimpse into what this boot camp is all about, because the feedback and the enrollment has been beyond my wildest dreams. So I thought I would be a great time to share and let you know. You still have an opportunity to get in. I mean, yes, we did start yesterday, but if you enroll, I believe up to tomorrow or Thursday, you can still get in and get caught up. The link is below in the comments and the description. Go ahead, enroll, couple pieces of information. It's absolutely free. And based upon what you are telling me, it probably won't be here for very long. I'm just saying, I ain't gonna make it free for whatever. So if you enroll, you should be able to get caught up, because on Friday, there will be a very special offer to everyone who's in the boot camp. And if you're watching this video, it's because you probably need some time management assistance or some stuff you got to tweak. So I hope to see you there. Don't forget, smash that like button, but only if you do. Share it, but only if you mean it. And subscribe right here next to me in that bubble. And until next time, my love, I will see you in the boot camp tomorrow or on Tuesday. Stay safe. Mwah! Bye-bye.